All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video. All right, y'all, Tank Davis versus Rolly Romero. Make sure y'all subscribe, all boxing everything. Yeah, man, this is what I was looking forward to, man. I wanted to see an entertaining knockout. You know, I was out. When I got home, I said, all right, the fight ain't started yet. Let me go ahead and get this thing. Let me go ahead and pull up Showtime. All right, let me go ahead and check it out because something tells me this is going to be a satisfying knockout because, look, nobody want to see Rolly get knocked out more than me. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there, but, look, shout out to both of these guys for putting on a good, good build-up, good storyline. You know, this wasn't like the best fight in the best, like I said. Definitely ain't no Spence Crawford type of fight, or even like Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney versus Kambosos or whoever. This was just a good movie type of knockout or movie type of fight. You know, there was a lot of trash talk from Rolly's side. Tank Davis, you know, he's the type of guy who's kind of like unstable, but you just wait for him to blow up. But the most he did was just push Rolly Romero off of a stage. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like a big stage. You know, it's just like he just gave the guy a little shove. And I think that let us know that, wow, these guys don't like each other. And they try to do whatever to get under each other's skin. And Rolly, like I said, he just talks a lot of trash. And it just makes you want to see him go in there and really, really get put in his place, right? Because I've already known, look, Rolly, I've seen him for a minute now. Is he like 13, 14 fights deep? Has a 12 knockouts. But again, like, what are we basing that off of? You know what I mean? Like, there was a time when you seen guys back in the day on the come up that had like 14 wins and 12 knockouts. We weren't calling them knockout artists yet, right? Because they were just knocking out guys on the lower level. But all of a sudden, like Rolly Romero, he's seen as this monster puncher, right? And I did say his only chance is knocking Tank out because that's all he has. He can't outbox Tank, right? So if anything, that's all he has is a Hail Mary chance. But, you know, a lot of people out there building this guy bigger than he was, you know what I mean? Just off of 12 knockouts. And that's what's crazy about the social media age. It's not like before, you know, you have to build yourself up. Like back in the day, like I said, if you had 15 wins, 13 knockouts, people are going to still question, oh, who'd you knock out? You know, but everybody's seeing, oh, he has 12 knockouts. Oh, he definitely got a good chance of knocking Tank out. But now it's like, who are the chins he knocked out? Who are the people he knocked out, right? So, yeah, going into the fight, I definitely said he had a puncher's chance, if that, because he did come in looking bigger and stronger than Tank. You know, as far as just, you know, the physical size and the physical strength, you know, he probably could have wore Tank down if he laid on him. But Tank has more skills than that. I knew Tank had more skills than that when it came down to it. Tank was a little cold in the first few rounds, but when I was watching the fight midway through, I think like maybe like round 3 or 4, something told me like, you know what? Tank is kind of carrying this kid. I think Tank is trying to make the knockout a little bit more satisfying. You know, he wants to kind of build it up like a movie. He even said that too, like, you know, he's trying to warm up to the crowd. He likes to kind of play up to the crowd, you know, to make it more exciting. And, you know, till he come, you know, he doesn't like to feel caged in, you know. So I think he wanted to kind of make it a show. And he knew what level Rolly Romero was on, so he could always kind of, you know, I won't say play around in there, but, you know, he knew when to play it safe and when to pick it up, which is a good rhythm fighter, you know. So, because there were times when I was watching, I was like, oh, come on, Tank, start breaking him down. I wanted Tank to just start hitting him to the body. You know, I wanted to see him put combinations together, just start ripping this kid. But first couple of rounds, you know, of course, Rolly has a chance. You know, Rolly did land one good left hook, and I think because Tank was still a little cold. You know, but by round 3, 4, and 5, Tank started picking it up, you know, using the lateral movement, making Rolly reset. The straight left hands were landing. Good right hooks were landing. But the straight left hand was really important because Rolly just kind of like leans back. Like Rolly's jab was effective the first few rounds, but like I said, but for how much? You know, how much was Tank giving him? You know, but after like round 4, I'd say Rolly's jab wasn't as effective anymore. You know, he was doing good as far as keeping the range, keep it in Tank's face so Tank couldn't like step in and land anything hard. But like I said, when Tank started using lateral movement, you know, he started stepping to his left more and he could get up under, and he started like scraping him with shots, you know. So Rolly, his corner, to me, which I'll talk about towards the end of this video, they were really giving him bad advice. Like they said the jab was working, yeah, but they weren't really telling him to start close distance and start laying on this guy. You know, he needs to start laying on Tank. He came in there bigger, start laying on him. But they were telling him that he was winning every single round, and I was like, okay, all right, okay, for real? He's winning every single round. So Tank, he started picking up by round 5, you know, just stepping side to side, picking his shots and landing some hard left hands after a while. Like, I could see these shots starting to really jolt Rolly. And Rolly knew at that point, like, it's only a matter of time. He's like, I got to try something. So by round 6, Tank into his groove. There was a moment where I think, round 6. Yeah, round 6. Tank got into his groove, kind of like Floyd Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton. You know, he was just stepping back, dipping out at angles, making Rolly miss, and just luring him in, baiting him in, stepping back, kind of like Juan Manuel Marquez versus Manny Pacquiao. Step back into the ropes, Rolly steps in, Tank dips up under, throws that hard left hand, boom, catches him, he goes down. And right whenever his head almost went through the ropes, if the ropes weren't there, he would have went flying out the ring. Let's just say that. But when his head went out the ropes, he fell over and sat down, got back up. Referee called it. That was it. That was it. I mean, when he went into the ropes, I knew it was over. I already knew it was over from there because I was like, oh, man, this kid, he got a concussion from that shot. Because the thing is, Tank didn't even throw with a lot of force, like he said. Rolly ran into it. And usually when guys run into shots and do the majority of the work for you, the shots can be even worse because this kid was going at his own intensity. You know, he was going at his own intensity, running in, throwing these hard shots. Like, if you listen, you know that weird little noise he makes, Rolly makes. If you look at the angle where, if you look at the low angle where it's like in a corner, you can hear him like grunting, making those noises. And we throw that second shot, you hear Tank just, let that one little left hand go, and boom, it catches him right on the chin. I was like, oh, wow. Rolly, man. Rolly did like 75% of the work for him. You know, so yeah, Rolly knocked himself out in a lot of ways here. You know, chin down, bad mistake, but just really putting a lot of force forward. And Tank just had to throw with, like I said, less than 50% of his punching power, and boom, caught him right on the chin and knocked him out, man. But wow, that was a nice knockout, very nice knockout. But it was bound to happen in this type of fight because, like I said, Rolly's just not on that level. And you know, Tank is just a much better sniper, you know, much better boxer, puncher. But when it comes down to it, man, Rolly, he just talked himself into, you know, a beatdown, you know, an A-whooping like that. And I think guys like this, they need to go back to the drawing board and really think, is this what they want to do? You know, because if they can't go into the ring in a competitive mindset instead of just like I hate this guy mindset, and I'm better than you, I'll F you this, F that, they really need to rethink themselves because they just sound like trash talkers in like a bar or a club. And those guys are usually the ones that get knocked out because their mouths or, you know, their mouths, you know, their mic skills are better than their fighting skills, right? So they really need to kind of start checking what they say. Or, you know, think about, is this the type of person I want to be? Like, does Rolly really want to be the fighter like this? You know, so I think he just needs to go back to the drawing board and think about what he really wants to do, because at 14 fights, whatever, 14, 15 fights, I can't say there was ever a time where I said, okay, this guy's a world beater. You know, that's why I was like, you know, why is he even in here with Tank? Why is this fight not happening? He's going to get knocked out in brutal fashion. So Rolly, moving forward, I just think he needs some better people in his corner. You know, like I said, when they told this kid that he was winning every single round, I was like, oh my goodness, like, where did they get these people from? And, you know, people might say, oh, they're the ones in the business, they know what they're doing. Well, if they do, they wouldn't have Rolly Romero in this type of fight. If they're really trying to move Rolly right, even if he did talk himself up to this point, they would have been moving him in the right fashion. I mean, look, Ryan Garcia is a little bit above Rolly, but he's definitely not on Devin and Tank's level, or even like Kambosos or those guys like that. But whenever the big fights come, I notice they pull him out quick. Like, they didn't even have him fight Javier Fortuna. You know what I mean? So guys like Ryan, they don't talk as much of the crazy trash like him. They get themselves in the spotlight in the right ways. But Rolly, he's kind of talked himself into a way where people are just out to see him get beat down. Where Ryan, he's kind of in the more of a good spotlight where guys can still see him as more of like a hype type fighter, where he could still find a lane. But Rolly, man, like, he's got to get a better corner to kind of polish him out. Like, Rolly, he's a hard puncher. He could be a knockout artist, but he needs some guys that are going to move him right. Like, Tank fight was way too soon for him. It was premature. He needed some people that was going to teach him how to work that jab, teach him how to use that size, and stop throwing telegraph punches. You know what I mean? He really needs some people like that in his corner, especially that can, you know, counter that hot head of his, you know, counter that trash talk of his, because somebody out there had him feeling himself. You know, somebody out there at the Mayweather gym had him feeling himself. Just because he had some nice sparring sessions with Ryan Garcia, built his social media up that way. And that's the thing about social media again too. It's like whenever a guy scores, like I said, 15 fights, knocks out 14 people, they think he's a knockout artist already. You know, when he's still in his when his wins are still in the teens, and because he's talking a lot of trash, or they see him hitting the mitts or hitting the bag hard, they think that he's the next best thing. And that's the thing about social media. I think it's getting these guys beat down out here. It really is. You know, there's got to be more hard work. And I think Tank, you see him fluid on social media sometimes, but when he's working, you don't see him as much. I think he really knows his groove. He knows how to fight. And like he said, he was finding his groove throughout that fight. You know, especially like how Tank was moving, you know, how he's moving, and when he was going to get ready to close the show, I think he's on another level for sure. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all think. From here, I want to see Tank Davis versus the Haney-Kambosos winner, that fight, and I still want to see the Lomachenko fight at some point. Those are like the big fights. But for Rolly, I think he just needs new corner. He needs a new corner that's going to really help him polish himself out and decide if he really wants to do this, and just start back fighting at the lower level, you know, fight at the C and D level, because he ain't ready for this type of action. Combo Breaker 99, make sure y'all subscribe, all boxing everything. I'm out. Peace.